Yes, everyone, what's going on? It is tactics time. Soz. Right, here's how United beat Arsenal this weekend. Before we get into how I think it's going to go from a tactical point of view and give you my starting 11 prediction, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the stuff that Ollie's been saying in his press conference yesterday morning. So talking about Fred, and I think I've put Fred in my 11, and I thought he was man of the match against Leipzig midweek. He said he's got incredible attributes. Shooting's not one of them. I mean, he doesn't say that, but we all know that's not one of them. And we are seeing the better side of Fred, definitely. We've waited for it. He played a fantastic season last season and did what we wanted from him. He's a humble boy. He works really hard. And as he said after the game, he missed a couple of passes, but that's in his genes. To look to improve and to look at his own performance, his high energy. He's little, but his point of gravity, his balance is fantastic. He's so sharp. He wins the ball and he can play a good pass. Delighted with his development. And I would echo the same thing. I think he's been great, Fred. I think he's an excellent, maybe not your first choice every single game, week in, week out kind of player, but someone that you can depend on, and that's what it's all about. And on squad depth, he says at the moment, we're looking like we've got a United squad. I've got opportunities, competition for places, and any successful team in the modern era of football have to have the option to rest players, to rotate, and that is probably the only way that you can last in the most intense league in the world, with the Champions League also involved. You want to go for the trophies. Totally. He also has a bit of a moan about not having the 5 subs. Is what it is. Everyone's going to have to be stuck with it, but I thought that was something that we would have seen stick around. Talking about Paul Pogba, and Pogba's another one that I've got in my 11. He says Paul can do everything on the football pitch, more or less. He can play long passes, get in the box, arrive in the box, play combinations outside, but he played really well. He impacted the game versus Leipzig, and we love to see him driving forward and affecting the game. What has been the case with Pogba after being injured and ill for so long, it's about getting fitness and getting the sharpness back, and the fitter he is, the more he can do. Now, since the Leipzig game, loads of you have hit me up with the diamond, because this time, before that game on the preview, we was talking about, someone asked me whether I'd play the diamond, and I said no. So I had loads of you going, we played a diamond, and it worked. It did work. Offensively, it did work. But I thought defensively, even though we kept a clean sheet, we shown a lot of frailties that Leipzig should have exploited, and they just didn't. There was a couple of times that Angelino was 2v1 against Wan-Bissaka, which is something that we identified as why you play a back three. They also managed to successfully pull Maguire out of position loads of times, but that third-man run that they do didn't happen. And for the reasons for that, I don't know. Fred probably had a little bit to play in the third-man run ones from midfield. But there was still vulnerabilities and frailties there, and I hope that the lads have watched it back and they've gone, actually, do you know what? We did play well, and certainly we was offensive and we was clinical when we had the ball, but at the back, we did well to come away with a clean sheet there because they did open us up a couple of times. Now, knowing what Arsenal are likely to bring, certainly what Arsenal are likely to bring on the counter-attack and how they like to press, I think that United do not go with the 4-4-2 diamond. I think United use this opportunity to go to the back three. This is a weird one because Arsenal are going to want to not have the ball and United are going to not want to have the ball. This could go a little bit like Chelsea did last week, where it kind of is a fucking boring game, for want of a better word. I'm going to go through everything that we expect, the strengths and weaknesses of Arsenal, and then I'll get into my 11 and I'll tell you why I've chosen what I've chosen. So, Arteta plays a 3-4-3. At the back, he's going to play David Luiz. He's going to play Kieran Tierney and probably like Gabby Magalhaes with Rob Holding being injured. Bellerin's been class on the right side for him as a right wing back, and Saka I think is a real find. I think he's a real good player. I'm quite impressed with him. It's going to be Thomas Partey, who's probably one of the best midfielders that Arsenal have had in a long time. And I expect it to be a Xhaka, potentially a Ceballos that's alongside of him. The forward three, whether he's playing 3 at the back or 4 at the back, is very likely to be the same. Pepe or Willian, I would expect it's Willian against United. Aubameyang on the left and Lacazette up front. Aubameyang is misfiring a little bit this term, but he's still dangerous and could still cause us problems. Lacazette has taken up the role of primary goal scorer, and on paper, this forward lineup can certainly cause United a lot of problems. I think Bellerin's probably going to be the one to watch, and considering that he's going to be coming up potentially against Luke Shaw as left wing back, doubling up with Willian or with Pepe, that's That's graft, and that's something that United really have to consider and have to watch out for. Bellerin's been really good for Arsenal. He's got 3 assists, which is more than any other Arsenal player. He is the one that's likely to start making things happen. So you've got to watch out for him. And whoever's on that left side, whether that's as a left wing back or as a left winger or even left midfield, you've got to do your job without the ball. Now, Arsenal are strong, very much the way United are strong. They like to sit off you a little bit, let you have the ball sometimes, maybe let you come across the halfway line and then switch. They're going to press you when you've got the ball trying to play it out. That middle ground, they'll let you have that, and they're going to drop and sit back in a bit of a low block. The way that they set up is way more restrictive than you would expect from someone who is the understudy to Pep Guardiola. They try and stop teams playing. They don't want to dominate the ball. The likes of Pepe, Lacazette, Aubameyang, they're very effective doing this style of play. Expect it to be similar to Chelsea, as I said. They're going to get men behind the ball and they're going to try and blast forward into space. And for me, that's why you play the back 3, because you can at least go man for man. And with Fred's always going to tuck in as that number 6. The one thing you do know about Arsenal is they're not going to long ball you. That's why you can get away with Fred being there, and you don't necessarily need a Matic or McTominay for the physicality in there. You get away with it. Now, they're going to press us. They're going to press man for man against our back 3, which is another reason why I do go with a back 3, because that means my fullbacks are free. They're in space. The option that they've got then is, if they want to press my fullbacks as well, now they've got to bring their fullbacks forward, which means that they're leaving space at the back, which means that we can go 1v1 against them at the back. 1v1 with Mason Greenwood, Marcus Rashford. It's not really a fair fight, is it? So that's why I choose the back 3 over going the 4-4-2 diamond, even though offensively I thought it did a very good job. Defensively, still frail. Off the ball, they're going to go into the 4-5-1. United need to hit them quick. It's going to be a game of 2 teams trying to counter each other and not really wanting the ball, which could result in a really dull fucking game. Well, that's what I think it's going to be. Weaknesses, I don't know necessarily if this is a massive weakness or if this is just a result of how they try and play. They're holding about 10% less possession than they used to under Emery. And I don't know if that's by choice or if that's just a consequence of how they're trying to play. United can force this Arsenal team into making mistakes. You can force David Luiz into giving you the ball back. You can force Magalhaes into giving you the ball. You can force Tierney into giving you the ball back. That's going to lead to situations where Rashford and Greenwood go 1v1, are in behind that defence, and I think it could work wonders. The key for United is going to be getting in behind that defence. Both teams are going to want to play a high line. Both teams are going to want to try and press from the front and then drop back and let you have the ball a little bit. It's going to be such an intriguing game, this. It'd be interesting if United are capable, because I actually think that this United team is capable of being one that could hold the ball and could hold possession. Whether or not they actually do, we have to find out, but I do think that they could do it. Now, this is my 11. I am going with a back 3, as I said, David De Gea in net. We're going with Axel Tuanzebe for pace. I want him matched up against Aubameyang. If they manage to slip it past Wan-Bissaka, Axel Tuanzebe being there, Axel says no, it's not happening. Harry Maguire in the middle and Victor Lindelof covering the channels, doing what he's actually very good at, which is defending those channels. If it's Willian, if it's Pepe, that's who I think he's going to be up against, and that's who I think he could be quite successful against. He's good at covering those channels. He's a little bit quicker than I think he gets credit for as well. It's going to be Luke Shaw with Tellez being out. I'm not sure Brandon Williams is in the good books at the moment. And then a midfield of Fred and Pogba. Pogba was great, I thought, against RB Leipzig. If he puts in another performance like that, ditto for Fred, man of the match, against RB Leipzig last week, then we're going to have no issues in midfield. Bruno given the job of creator, and then Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford after midweek goals and a midweek hat-trick in 28 minutes for Marcus Rashford, will be the ones that Arsenal need to worry about. So a very, very intriguing lineup. I'm going to head over to the Patreon group for the questions. If you'd like to get involved, support the channel and get some extra content and a couple of little perks as well, then the link for the Patreon group is in the description. But let's have a look at some of the questions. Craig says, pants off if Ollie pats Arteta's head after he makes him his bitch. Maybe. How many vibes do I reckon Ollie is going to give off against Arsenal? I love how this is going to become an insult, by the way, in about 2 weeks. People are going to say, no tactics, just vibes when we lose. Even though Ollie is actually a tactically fantastic manager. Can we keep our momentum going against a less than impressive Arsenal side? Yes, we can. We can, but it's going to be intriguing. And honestly, 0-0 would be a good bet, I think, in this particular game. Is it time for Lingardinho? No. Why hasn't any pundit mentioned how great David De Gea has been? Yet they all suck off Mendy at Chelsea. David De Gea has started off this season close to his previous best. I think he got done for a couple of the shots against Tottenham, which I think he could have done better in. But there's been 3 games at least where I've come off and gone, David De Gea had a good game today. And I don't know if we had 3 last season that you could say that. Is it weird for me? I think that Arsenal are a bigger threat to us than our last 3 opponents. They've only lost to games that you might expect them to lose. Liverpool, City and Leicester. Yeah. How good of a back 2 could Axel and Maguire be for this game? Both complement the other for their weakness. I go with a 3 in this game, though, because you also bring in Lindelof. Lindelof's covering in the channels and anticipation in those areas, I think, is really good. And also, he was playing out the back fantastically. Was it the Chelsea game? I thought he was really good. How badly will our momentum be fucked by losing to these? It would, wouldn't it? We can't do that. How bad is it that we have to play on Sunday because they play in Europa? Oh, yeah. I didn't realise that. That's why, isn't it? It's an extra day off, though. Is it an extra day for us to do some work and prepare for them? We will find out. Could we play Bruno, Pogba and Van der Beek in a diamond with a solid 6? Donny can obviously play a bit more reserved as well. Donny can be the 6. Donny's a Michael Carrick style number 6. I don't think he starts, though. I think we're going to continue drip feeding him in because I thought he was knackered after the hour mark. I thought he had a good game, solid game, decent game, but he did look like he tired to me. How long until Marcus Rashford leaves Mustafi in tears? I don't think Mustafi's going to be playing, but he's going to leave somebody in tears. David Luiz. David Luiz can be wound up and try and volley him, can't he? Aubameyang's gone 5 matches without a goal for the first time since November 14. Is Arteta's style of play hampering him? And how best do we keep him quiet? It might be hampering him, to be honest with you. Yeah, because against Sheffield United, they only managed 6 shots. Marcus Rashford had 4 shots in 28 minutes on Wednesday night against Leipzig. They managed 6 shots as a team. I think he had 3 of them 6, or 2 of them 6 himself. But yeah, he's just not getting on the ball anywhere near as much because they're not in possession anywhere near as much. So I think that's an issue. How do we keep him quiet? Axel and Wan-Bissaka, they'd keep anything quiet. They'd keep an atomic bomb quiet between the 2 of them. That's how you deal with it. You've got Wan-Bissaka who's tackling is honestly weird. And physically, there's nobody just going to... No one's running past Axel to Anzabia. They're not. You see how hard Mbappe had it, and Mbappe runs past everyone. Nah, you play Axel to Anzabig. I hope this is the start of Axel becoming a first-choice player for United. If he starts on Sunday, I'm going to be absolutely buzzing. I can't wait to see him become the regular that I believe he can be. And Brian says, is Fred making himself undroppable? Might be a bit giddy for that, but Fred's form coincides with United's form at times. I hope he continues doing what he's doing. I thought he was fantastic, man of the match against Leipzig. And sometimes you just need that energy, particularly in a game which I think, much like the Chelsea game, I think this could go flat. I think you need a little bit of energy, and I think Fred's the man to deliver that. That's the questions from the Patreon group. Like I said, if you would like to get involved in a Patreon group, the link is in the description. They're getting about an extra 4 or 5 videos a week. And after the game tomorrow, there's going to be a post-match pint where we have a hangout with some of the patrons. So if you'd like to get in the mixer with some of that, you get some vlogs, some commute to work sort of cams and all sorts of shit going on in there. Then check it out, and I'll see you guys after the game. Laters.